The Copper Age is bringing quite a number of features and changes to how Copper actually works inside the game, and today I'm going to be ranking every single feature coming inside the Copper Age updates from the best to the absolute worst. Facts are facts, opinions are opinions, my opinions are the facts. Let's get into this. Now inside this update, a lot of it is based on like variants of already existing items and stuff, and while that's not a bad thing, it kind of loses its uniqueness when it comes to like other updates because it's just mainly things we've already seen before. But that still doesn't mean there aren't some good things inside of it, such as say with like the copper bars actually having a use inside the game now, because while we originally had just the silver iron bars for the longest time, now we actually have 9 different types of bars now inside this update, and I think overall for decorators and things like that, that's actually a fairly decent thing. I wouldn't say it's like a completely game-changing thing, but for those who like adding like a bit of extra decoration, I think it is actually pretty good. Something else that's pretty good is the horse armor. I think it's fine as is. Like, I don't think people are going to go out of their way to looking for copper horse armor all the time, considering that like there's other better forms of horse armor out there. But in the case someone does want to just make the use of like some form of other different types of colored horse armor, then I think they could make the most out of that in that way. Something else you can make the most out of in different colors and things like that is all the new copper gear and tools and weapons and armor and things like that. This has been something that like people have been wanting to see for a very long time, and while it is now inside the game, I don't think it's going to be as game changing as some people think. I do still think it's going to be like a fun opportunity to just try out new types of gear and things like that. Again, nothing too game changing, but in the case you want to have like a different way on like gearing yourself up from like one set of tools to another, or one set of armor to another, or if you want like completely orange armor and tools, then you could totally do that. But overall, it's not going to be game changing, but I think overall it's still a fairly decent addition. Something else that's a fairly decent addition is the fact that we're also getting copper nuggets in the case you want to smelt down your copper armor or gear or something, whether it be from crafting yourself or like getting it from like a mob that drops it. You can now actually make the most out of that by actually smelting down that copper gear and stuff into copper nuggets. Is it going to be game changing? Again, maybe not. But is it still a worthwhile thing and a worthwhile addition that came inside the game? I think so. I think so. Something else that's kind of worthwhile is the chains. Again, we had like maybe one type of chain for the longest time, but now we're getting pretty much 9 different sets of change. Some of them, again, they're going to be just like variants of one from the other, because you're going to get this one and then the wax version. So like there's technically going to be only 5 different in terms of like the shades of colors and things like that. But in the case, again, you do want to do more decorating and things like that, then this is going to be a pretty decent way on doing that. Something else that's pretty decent in doing is the lightning rods. I think this was sort of a duh type of thing we should have seen like a very long time ago. I mean, why have we not seen this up until this one point? Just seeing like different forms of oxidized lightning rods? I don't know why, but I am glad we are seeing it again. But again, it's mainly based on like decoration things. So while it is cool seeing it, I don't think like the average non-building player is going to use that too often. Maybe they will, maybe they won't, I don't know. But something else that people might or might not use is the copper torch. It's okay. It's just another variant of the torch with just like a little bit of extra crafting. It's okay. It's perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with it in the slightest. But something you can use it for is actually going to be the copper lantern. Something you could actually craft using all this new copper stuff. And again, instead of having 2 different types of lanterns, we're now having upwards of 10. And much like everything else, it's pretty much mainly for decoration. In the case you want to have, like, say, green or orange types of lanterns, and I guess you could do that. But other than that, it's not going to be anything too game changing. Something that actually might be game changing is the copper golem. The losing mob vault from a couple years ago finally making its way inside of the game, and man, oh man, this thing is absolutely amazing. Like, absolutely brilliant in how it was actually introduced and how it was actually added. And I guess we should talk about the copper chest too, because these things kind of go two and two hand in hand, because now hoppers are going to have slightly less of a use now, because these guys can sort out items you put inside of copper chests. That is a serious game changer. Is every single player going to use this? Maybe not. Are a lot of people going to use this? I think so. So I think because of that, the copper golem is probably going to be up there in the S tier, personally. The copper chest, I think I'll put it like just below that, because again, it's a really good feature when it comes to like sorting items. It is a pretty neat style of a decorated block, but I don't think everyone's going to be going out of their way on crafting this as opposed to crafting, say, like a normal chest or something like that. So it's a great addition. It's just not going to be that utter game-changing addition outside of sorting new items. And of course, alongside that, we have the Copper Golem statue, which is actually not too bad of an idea. I mean, having different forms of decoration rather than just like the traditional types of stuff we have been seeing so far is quite a welcoming addition. And similar to how, like, say, armor stands can be posed, this one has like many different types of poses. I believe upwards of 4. And then you include on the fact that there's like 8 different variants of these guys. There's actually quite a bit to go along with these things. So I think, generally speaking, these are probably slightly better forms of decoration than other forms of decoration. But I think, generally speaking, these things still are actually pretty good, even if they are still just decoration stuff. Something else that's mildly related to decoration is the fact that DICE actually got a brand new update change. And I think overall, it's fine. I have no strong opinion for or against it. Maybe there's some different dye textures I like better than others, but the reason for that, just to let more colorblind people have better accessibility, and I think generally to do that, that's not a bad idea. Will it take a while for us to get used to them? I think so, because again, some of them look a little strange than others, but I think generally the meaning on adding them is good. The execution is a little hit or miss for me, but I think honestly I don't really have much of an opinion other than that. But something I do have an opinion on is the shelf block. Oh my goodness, the shelf block is like the greatest thing to come inside of a copper update. Something that is not even made of copper. An item which can, you know, when powered by redstone, shift out your entire hotbar from one to the other. Can hold upwards of 3 stacks of items, similar to like an item frame, but way more. Like, the shelf block also, technically in a way, is kind of a vertical slab in some way or another. Are we ever going to get vertical slabs? Probably not. But I think this is going to be the closest thing we can get to it. So I'm sorry, Copper Golem, you're going to have to go down here. But generally, that is easily my favorite thing inside this update. And I think that is generally what is inside this one update. Unless I'm forgetting something. I'm hoping I'm not forgetting something. But generally speaking, this update for decorators is fantastic. This update for item sorters and redstone players is fantastic. This update for having inventory accessibility and more ways to actually swap out your inventory is fantastic. I think, generally speaking, this update, while it does have a lot of good things, it's nothing like majorly game-changing, because again, a lot of it's just like, you know, replacing the texture or something like that. But I think, again, generally, this update, the Copper Age, I would give it a solid 7.8 out of 10. Wood, copper, again, I had no way in transitioning to that, but it's a good update. But yeah, let me know what you think of this list down below. Let me know what you think of the update down below. But for now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all later.